Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever noticed how easily your attention slips away? A notification here, a wandering thought there, and suddenly you've lost another moment of your life. But what if I told you right now that your mind is like a blade, dulled not by time, but by distraction? And that with the right focus, you could sharpen it to cut through the noise of existence, to see reality as it truly is. We live in an age of endless stimulation, where attention is currency, and your mind is being pulled in 1,000 directions at once. But in this chaos, there is an untapped power that lies in your ability to focus. The sharper your focus, the clearer your mind. The clearer your mind, the stronger you become. Think of focus not as mere concentration, but as awareness, and awareness that illuminates everything it touches. A sculptor sees art where others see stone. A musician hears symphonies in silence. A philosopher discovers truth in the spaces between words. Why? Because they focus deeply and deliberately. But most people don't control their focus. They let it be controlled. They live like driftwood on the ocean, carried by every wave of impulse and distraction. And when the mind is scattered, it becomes weak, restless, anxious, unsure. A mind without focus is like a candle in the wind, flickering, unstable, constantly at risk of being snuffed out. Yet the mind that learns to focus is a fire, unstoppable and illuminating. When you truly focus, whether on your craft, your thoughts, or the moment itself, you step into a deeper reality. You discover a world most people never see. So the question is, do you want to reclaim your mind? Do you want to harness its full power? If so, then stay with me, because what I'm about to share might just change the way you think forever. The mind, in its natural state, is like a vast ocean deep, boundless and full of hidden treasures. But for most, it is constantly disturbed by waves of distraction, ripples of fleeting thoughts that keep them from ever truly diving below the surface. This is the illusion of a scattered mind. It tricks you into believing that you are thinking, that you are engaged, when in reality you are merely reacting, jumping from one thought to another, pulled by invisible strings of habit, worry, and external noise. And because this has become so normal, so ingrained in daily life, most people never question it. They mistake movement for progress, noise for awareness, and chaos for depth. But if one were to step back even for a moment, they would see the truth. This scattered state is not a reflection of intelligence or curiosity. It is the symptom of an unfocused mind, a mind that has never been taught to be still, to observe, to direct its own attention with intent rather than impulse. This is why the modern world, filled with endless distractions, feels overwhelming. People believe they need more information, more stimulation, more input to stay ahead. But the more they consume, the more fragmented their thoughts become. They are pulled in so many directions that they forget how to be present in a single one. And the most dangerous part, they don't even realize it's happening. The scattered mind feels normal until you experience a focused one, until you sit with yourself uninterrupted and realize just how loud the internal noise has become. Until you truly focus, you will never know what clarity feels like. But focus is not about force. It is not about gritting your teeth and demanding concentration. It is about learning to see through the illusion, to recognize that your attention is not something the world should control. It is yours to wield, like a finely crafted tool. The moment you understand this, you stop chasing thoughts like leaves in the wind. Instead, you become the observer, watching them pass without being pulled away. And in that stillness, something remarkable happens. The mind strengthens, sharpens, and expands. Like the ocean settling after a storm, clarity emerges. And in that clarity, you finally see, perhaps for the first time, what you have been missing all along. When you learn to focus, you are not merely concentrating, you are transforming the way you perceive the world. Focus is not just an act, it is a form of alchemy, a process through which the ordinary becomes extraordinary. It is the difference between looking and truly seeing, between hearing and deeply listening, between touching and actually feeling. The moment you direct your full awareness towards something, it begins to reveal itself in ways most people never notice. This is why those who master focus, artists, philosophers, scientists, athletes, seem to operate on a different plane of existence. They are not merely skilled, they are deeply engaged, fully immersed in the essence of what they do. To them, a simple stroke of a brush holds infinite depth. A single note in music vibrates with profound emotion. A mathematical equation becomes an elegant expression of reality itself. And yet, this ability is not exclusive to a few. It is a power within everyone, hidden beneath the layers of distraction and mental noise. The problem is that most people never unlock this power because they believe focus is something external, something they must chase or struggle to achieve. They think they need the perfect conditions, the right mood, the ideal environment. But focus is not found outside, it is cultivated within. It is a way of being, a shift in perception. When you stop resisting the moment, when you stop treating attention as a scarce resource and instead surrender to the present, you discover that focus is effortless. It is not about fighting against distraction. It is about dissolving into what is before you so completely that nothing else exists. This is why true focus feels weightless, like a current carrying you deeper into an experience rather than an effort to hold on. But most people never reach this state because they are trapped in habitual distraction. They are addicted to the surface, skimming life instead of diving in. They wonder why they feel disconnected, why moments pass them by without impact, why nothing seems to hold meaning. Yet the answer is simple. Meaning is created through focus. The more attention you give something, the richer it becomes. A life lived with true focus is a life of depth, a life where even the simplest moments are infused with wonder. Awareness is often mistaken for mere perception, but it is something far more profound. It is not just about seeing what is in front of you, but truly understanding it, absorbing it, and allowing it to shape you. The nature of awareness is not about forcing yourself to focus on something, but about realizing that your attention is already there, waiting to be harnessed. Most people drift through life half awake, their minds cluttered with noise, never fully engaging with what they are doing. They listen but do not hear, look but do not see, touch but do not feel. This is because their awareness is fragmented, scattered across 1,000 different thoughts, worries, and distractions. True focus is not about pushing everything else away. It is about bringing all of yourself into this moment, into this single point of reality without resistance. When you begin to understand awareness, you realize that focus is not something you do, it is something you allow. It is the natural state of the mind when it is not being pulled in every direction by external forces. A child lost in play, a musician absorbed in their instrument, a poet caught in the rhythm of words. These are not people trying to focus. They are simply present. They are immersed, dissolved into the experience itself. And this is where true awareness comes to life. When you are fully aware, the world shifts. Colors seem richer, sounds become more distinct, sensations deepen. Time slows down because for the first time you are not rushing to the next moment, you are completely here. But most people never experience this because they have been trained to divide their attention, to multitask, to always think ahead. They live in a constant state of anticipation or distraction, rarely touching the depth of now. This is why so many feel lost, disconnected from themselves and the world around them. They believe something is missing, but in truth they are simply not aware enough to see what is already there. Awareness is not about adding anything, it is about removing the barriers that keep you from experiencing reality as it is. And once you do, you will begin to see that everything you have ever been searching for is not in the past or the future. It is in the depth of this very moment, waiting to be noticed. The mind is often compared to a muscle, and like any muscle, it can be strengthened or weakened depending on how it is used. Most people, however, allow their minds to remain in a state of constant distraction, never developing the ability to focus deeply. They live in a world of fleeting attention, where thoughts are scattered, jumping from one impulse to another without direction. And just like an untrained muscle, an unfocused mind becomes weak, sluggish, and incapable of sustained effort. But when you train your focus, when you deliberately engage in the act of sustained attention, something remarkable happens. The mind grows stronger, sharper, and more resilient. It stops being a passive receiver of random information and becomes an active force, cutting through the noise of the world with precision and clarity. Imagine an athlete who never trains, never pushes their limits, never strengthens their body through disciplined effort. Such a person will never reach their full potential. The same is true for the mind. If you allow yourself to be controlled by distractions, if you never challenge your ability to focus, your mind will remain weak. But if you practice focus, if you train yourself to give your full attention to one thing at a time, your mental endurance expands. Your thoughts become clearer, your perception becomes sharper, and your ability to engage with reality deepens. You become less reactive, less easily swayed by external circumstances, because your mind is no longer a chaotic storm, it is an unshakable pillar of clarity. This strength is not just about intelligence or memory. It is about presence, about the ability to be fully engaged with whatever you are doing. When your mind is strong, you do not need to force yourself to concentrate. Focus becomes effortless, like a well-conditioned muscle moving with ease. Challenges that once seemed overwhelming become manageable. Tasks that once felt tedious become immersive. The mind, when trained, does not struggle to focus, it desires to. It craves depth, meaning, and immersion, because it has learned the value of sustained attention. And once you experience this level of mental strength, you will never want to return to the scattered, restless state in which most people lie. You will realize that a strong mind is not just an advantage, it is the foundation of a truly rich and fulfilling life. The modern world is not designed for focus, it is designed for distraction. Every notification, every advertisement, every flashing screen is fighting for a piece of your attention, pulling you away from yourself. The mind, once a vast and still ocean, has become a storm of fragmented thoughts, constantly reacting, constantly shifting, never at rest. And yet, most people never question this state of being. They believe this is normal, that to be busy is to be productive, that to be constantly stimulated is to be engaged with life. But in reality, they are simply trapped in a cycle where their thoughts are no longer their own, where their attention is controlled by forces they do not even recognize. You think about the last time you truly focused on something without interruption. No phone, no background noise, no urge to check a screen. It is a rare experience now, almost unnatural. The moment silence appears, people feel the itch to fill it, to reach for their devices, to distract themselves from the discomfort of stillness. But why? Because the modern world has conditioned them to be uncomfortable with their own minds. The habit of distraction has become so deeply ingrained that stillness feels foreign, even unsettling. And yet, stillness is the very key to a powerful mind. When you are constantly pulled in every direction, your ability to think deeply weakens. You skim life rather than live it. Your emotions become reactive rather than intentional. Your ideas remain surface level because true insight requires depth, and depth requires focus. Without focus, everything becomes shallow: your work, your relationships, your sense of purpose. You begin to drift, following whatever stimulus appears in front of you, mistaking motion for progress. But true progress, true mastery, requires the ability to sit with something, to engage with it fully, without the urge to escape. The greatest trap of modern distractions is not just that they steal your time, it is that they steal your ability to be present. They rob you of the richness of experience, replacing depth with endless stimulation, meaning with mere entertainment. And unless you reclaim your focus, unless you take control of your own attention, you will spend your life merely reacting to the world instead of truly experiencing it. A focused mind is a free mind. When you learn to control your attention, you gain control over how you experience life itself. Most people live in a state of constant reaction, their thoughts dictated by whatever external stimulus appears before them. They wake up and check their phones before they even check in with themselves. They move through their day pulled by notifications, distractions, and impulses, never questioning who is truly in control. But what if you could reclaim that control? What if, instead of being led by the world, you led yourself? This is the power of a focused mind, not just the ability to concentrate, but the ability to choose where your mind goes, to decide what deserves your attention, and to engage with life on your own terms. When your mind is scattered, you feel restless, overwhelmed, and easily swayed by emotions. But when your mind is focused, you gain clarity. You see things as they are, without the distortions of worry, impulse, or distraction. Decisions become easier because they are made with full awareness rather than fleeting emotions. Conversations become richer because you are truly present rather than lost in thought. Work becomes more meaningful because you are fully engaged rather than mindlessly multitasking. Even simple moments, watching the rain, sipping tea, feeling the warmth of the sun, become profound when experienced with full attention. But focus is not just about productivity or efficiency. It is about freedom. The more you master your mind, the less you are controlled by the outside world. You become immune to the endless noise that keeps others restless. You are no longer pulled into distractions that do not serve you. You stop wasting energy on thoughts that weaken you. And in that space of deep attention, you rediscover a forgotten truth that presence is power. A focused mind is not burdened by the past or anxious about the future. It is fully here, live. And in that presence, you experience life not as something to rush through, but as something to fully embrace. Focus is not just a skill, it is a way of being. It is the difference between drifting through life and truly living it. In a world that constantly demands your attention, the ability to direct it where you choose is the ultimate form of freedom. A scattered mind is a restless mind, easily swayed, easily exhausted. But a focused mind is clear, strong, and unwavering. It sees through distractions, cuts through noise, and finds meaning where others see only chaos. The more you train your focus, the more your mind transforms. What once felt overwhelming becomes simple. What once felt dull becomes profound. Life itself becomes richer, deeper, more vibrant, not because the world has changed, but because you have. And this is the ultimate truth. Your experience of life is shaped by the quality of your attention. Reclaim your focus and you reclaim your mind. Reclaim your mind and you reclaim your life.